Hello and welcome to this Disney Villainous Strategy Guide video. This one is about Scar. He's one of the more difficult villains out of the 15 that are out right now. He will always be an uphill battle, but with this strategy guide, hopefully I can help you come out on top. Scar's objective is simply just to start your turn with at least 15 strength in succession pile. What the succession pile is will be discussed later on when we get to the decks and fate cards. Now, what exactly is a succession pile? This is something introduced by Scar and specifically for Scar. Basically, it's separate from your fate discard pile. So you have your fate deck, your fate discard pile, and then you have a succession pile. Now this is separate, and it's only created when Mufasa is defeated. It says when Mufasa is defeated, put him into the succession pile. If he is in the succession pile, all heroes you defeat are put into the succession pile. So essentially, your goal as Scar is to vanquish Mufasa, and then after Mufasa is vanquished, you just have to vanquish more heroes and add them to the succession pile until their strength is greater than or equal to 15. Now, it may seem easy, all you need to do is vanquish 4 characters with 3 or more, but that's very difficult in the whole game because people do things like prophecy, which basically doubles the strength of these characters or even makes Mufasa stronger. There's other things here that I'll go through later on, but essentially the succession pile is underneath here because it's labeled succession, and you just play while you're playing and you're vanquishing, you just add them here and here and here, and then once you have 15 or more in here, you have to start your turn and you win. Now if you have Mufasa in the succession pile and you're vanquishing and you're just getting more heroes in the succession pile, once someone plays something like Hakuna Matata, where you choose a hero with a strength of 3 or less from the succession pile and play that hero, they can take one out of the succession pile and play him to mess with you. Now that obviously gets rid of cards, but once you vanquish them again, they just go right back into that succession pile. Now if you have heroes that you're vanquishing before you vanquish Mufasa to start the succession pile, all of the heroes you vanquish will just be discarded into your fate discard pile. Only when you have Mufasa vanquished before other heroes will you then take these, instead of discarding them, you place them in the succession pile. Let's break his board down. We have right here at the Pride Rock, we have gain 2 power, 2 play a cards, and then 1 move an ally or item. At the Savannah, we have 1 play a card, 1 fate action, 1 discard a card, and 1 gain 1 power. At the Elephant Graveyard, we have 1 discard a card, 2 play a cards, and 1 gain 3 power. At the Gorge, we have 1 move an item or ally. We have 1 play a card, and then we have 1 discard a card and 1 fate action. The more important places on this map are probably Pride Rock and Elephant Graveyard, because they both allow you to play 2 cards, which can be helpful with playing your allies, and they both give you a good amount of power. The Gorge is a necessary place too, because it allows you to do all of your vanquishing. Meanwhile, the Savannah doesn't really give you much else important things to do that you can't do at the Gorge or Pride Rock or Elephant Graveyard. Scar has 30 cards in his deck, just like everyone else, but the main difference between Scar's deck and everyone else is that there are no items. Next up, we have the 3 named Hyenas. So these 3 are basically probably the most effective allies you have in terms of getting more firepower out there, because Ed the Hyena allows you to play hyenas to his location, and all the hyenas that you play will cost 1 power less. This saves you half the price on all of your hyenas, because in the game all of your hyenas cost 2 power. And next we have Shenzi, which when she's played, you may play a hyena from your hand for free, which can be very important to getting these hungry hyenas out there, and it won't cost you a dime. Next we have Banzai the Hyena, which you gain 1 power for each other hyena discarded from Banzai's location. So with this, I would say stack all 3 of these on the same location, which is what I do strategy-wise, because that way every single time I play a hyena, it's reduced by 1 power, and then when he's discarded, I can gain 1 power back, which effectively just makes the hyena free to play. And when Shenzi is played, you may play a hyena from your hand for free. So this is the card you would want to vanquish with. These two don't use in vanquish actions. But the hungry hyenas, these ones are your ones that you just throw away because they gain +1 strength for each other hyena at their location. So if you have these 3 hyenas plus the hungry hyena at this location, this hungry hyena will have 4 strength to defeat allies with because of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, every time you vanquish, I would use Shenzi so that when she gets discarded, you can play an effect, which I'll get into later on, which allows you to grab this from your discard pile and put it in your hand, so that with Ed's power, it only costs 1 more to play her again, and then you can attach another hungry hyena to that same location for free, which gives you a lot more firepower for much less power spent-wise, which allows you to gain more strength to eliminate more heroes, but save power and then gain power every time you vanquish. Next up we have Hungry Hyena. Now this one is a very, very important ally because these ones gain 1 strength for each other hyena at their location, like I explained elsewhere, but when you stack all of these, you have 6 of them in your deck, which is a large amount compared to any other deck in the game, but Hungry Hyena, with enough hyenas at that location, you can effectively defeat anyone in 1 shot with 1 of these, which makes for a very, very powerful ally because instead of spending 3 or 4 allies to get rid of someone with 6 or 7 power or strength, you can get rid of 1 with just 1 hungry hyena, but that's all based upon how many hyenas you stack at that location. Now there are different effects in the game which allow you to move hyenas around. So if you have 2 hyenas at one location, 2 hyenas at another, and then 1 here, what the effect does is you can take any number of hyenas and move them all to the same location so that when they're all stacked together, they can deal a crazy amount of damage, which is very important in achieving your objective. Next up we have the Stampede. These guys only cost 2, and they are not considered hyenas, so they will not work for the hungry hyenas. You cannot play them for free when you play Shenzi. You do not gain 1 power when they're discarded, nor do you play them for only 1 because of Ed Hyena. But these guys are different. These guys allow you to move a hero at their location to an adjacent location, and then at that adjacent location you may perform a vanquish action. Now let's say you had a Stampede in your hand, and you had a hero right here and allies here. So if you have the Stampede in your hand, what you can do is you can play it to this location, and its ability will end up moving Rafiki over here, and then the ability will also allow you to perform a vanquish action. You can be anywhere on the board and you can still perform a vanquish action. You do not have to be at the gorge with this vanquish action here. What this means is if you had a second hero here, you could do 2 vanquishes, 1 with this action and then 1 with the Stampede, because this place has to play a card. So once you move Rafiki over, you may perform a vanquish action. You don't have to, but I want to because I want to get my succession pile going. So I need to vanquish. So I'm going to get rid of Rafiki because of his ability. This discards my hyenas, but the Stampede stays. Now for effects, we have, to start, we have Stick With Me, which we have 3 of in our deck. They are free to play, and they allow us to choose a hyena who is not at Scar's location. And then at that hyena's location, you can perform one action. So, if you were at the savannah and you had a hyena at the elephant graveyard, you can play Stick With Me to perform an action at the hyena's location. If you have a hero covering it, you cannot perform the actions covered by the hero, but only one of the actions at the hyena's location. So if you need power, you can obviously do one at one that has power, or if you need to play a card, you can do that too. But one of the card stipulations right at the bottom, you cannot use Stick With Me to perform fate actions. So if this hyena was here and you were here, you could not play Stick With Me to fate somebody. That's the only action you're not allowed to do with this card. Next up, we have Feeding Frenzy, which allows you to choose a location and move any number of hyenas in my realm to that location. This card is helpful if you have an ally at a location, but you don't have any hyenas at any other location. If all of your hyenas are elsewhere, someone will most likely play a hero to some location that you don't have any allies, so that you would have to make a move to either move the hero over or move your allies over to then perform a vanquish action. But if you have this card in your hand, this can be very helpful because you can play it for 2 power and you can choose a location. So I choose the savannah, obviously, and then I can move any number of hyenas in my realm, so I can move all of them, so that all of my hyenas are now at this location. Or I can choose to keep these ones here and just move these ones from here and here over. It's all dependent upon what you want to do with your card, but I can move whoever I want hyenas as long as they are hyenas. Stampedes cannot be moved with this because stampedes are not considered hyenas. So this allows you to move hyenas around, which is very helpful. But the only thing is, there's 2 of them, which is kind of scarce in your deck because you have plenty of other cards that are good, but these 2 are rarer to find, but they both work really, really well. Next up, we have Long Live the King, which allows you to reveal the top 4 cards of your Fate deck, and then play 1 hero, and then discard the rest. You get 4 of these in your deck, and these are the most important cards, I would say, because these allow you to burn through your Fate deck and find Mufasa as fast as possible. When you play it, it costs just 1 power to play it, and when you do, you reveal the top 4 cards of your Fate deck. So let's say this is my Fate deck, and I discarded I pulled up the top 4 cards. It says you must reveal 1 hero and discard the rest. So these items you cannot use on yourself. So these just get discarded. Now you have a choice to make on who you want to use. You can choose one of these and the other one gets discarded. Obviously you would want to choose Mufasa and get rid of Rafiki because Rafiki's the one thing that can stop you from killing Mufasa first. So I would get rid of Rafiki and take Mufasa, play him on myself, and then use my next turn or something to vanquish. But here's the thing. There are plenty of other heroes that are probably better to play on yourself if Mufasa isn't revealed. Like Zazu, he's good to play on yourself because if you have a hero here, Zazu played here gives everyone at that location -2 strength, so Nala would be 1, which allows just a plain old hungry hyena who's alone at this location to vanquish her right away. And there's plenty of other ones that I'll go through when I get to the fate cards. Next up is Be Prepared, which allows you to discard the top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 effect or up to 2 allies from your discard pile and put it in your hand. There's 3 of them, they cost 1 power, and these are very, very good. So let's say you have your discard pile here, full of cards because you've been playing for a while, and you choose to play a Be Prepared. So you play it, you take your deck, discard the top 3 cards, place them on your discard pile, and then you can search through it and grab either 1 effect or up to 2 allies. So if you had a lot of your allies discarded, you can choose 2 of them and put them in your hand to play again. Or let's say you wanted to move around some of your heroes or some of your allies, so you can choose Feeding Frenzy. Or you can choose Long Live the King. It's all dependent upon what your situation is. Now, if you ever have Shenzi in your discard pile, this is probably the card you would want to grab, because she's the one that allows you to play a hyena from your hand for free, which is very important because this is the card that allows you to get her back, and then when you play her again, you can do this, you can vanquish using her, play another Be Prepared, and get her back to play 2 allies basically over and over again. This allows you to maximize damage without having to throw away as many allies, and allows you to save lots of power. Whisper is another helpful card. You have 3 of them in your hand, costs 1 power. It allows you to choose a card from your Fate discard pile and play it. So if you have some discarded cards in your Fate pile, this allows you to choose a card and play it on yourself, which is helpful because it gets heroes that you defeated earlier before Mufasa, or cards that were discarded by other people's Fate actions. Because if someone fates you and they pick up these 2, they're going to put Rafiki down and discard Mufasa. So Whisper allows you to grab Mufasa back out of the discard pile and play him to further along your game. Some further strategy that goes along with this card specifically is about Hakuna Matata. It allows you to choose a hero with a strength of 3 or less from the succession pile or play that hero, or move a hero to any location. Now, the one that we care about is moving a hero to any location, because why would we get rid of cards in our succession pile? So now, if you had allies at this location, let's say, okay, and someone fated you with Pumbaa all the way over here. Now you can play Stampedes to get him all the way over, but that'll take up 2 Stampedes, because the one will move him here, then the other one will move him here. These are the only 2 Stampedes you have, so saving these for important times is better than just taking it to move him here and here. Now if you have this, what you can do is you can play Whisper to choose a card from Fate discard pile and play it, and if this is in your discard, you can grab it and play it, which allows you to move Pumbaa anywhere you want. So obviously you would want to move him here and vanquish. This way, with Whisper, you can take heroes that you need to either further along your game, or you can rectify things that other people did to mess with your game, which is really helpful. Now another thing is, if you play this and you choose Nala, she allows you to move a hero to any location, which is really good because if you play her here, it's a good alternative to pulling out Hakuna Matata, because this way you gain another hero that you can vanquish for your succession pile, but you also get to move Pumbaa anywhere you want. Now this only works obviously if Nala's in your discard pile, but it's helpful for getting people elsewhere. So sometimes when I see Nala in the discard pile, I'll play a Whisper card to grab her out of the discard pile, play her where all of my allies are, and then move a hero that was placed by somebody else to that location so that I can get as many vanquishes as I want. Next up we have Injustice, which allows you to, when you're fated, take the top 2 cards of your fate deck, and then you can look at them. And if they are something that you do not want, like Hakuna Matata, which sets you back, or Prophecy, which makes the allies or the heroes stronger, you can discard them. Now this only works if you are being fated by somebody. It allows you to then rig the fate so that it doesn't give you what you wanted, and so then the top 2 cards that they pull might just be the one you need or something else. Now it could totally be the way it works out where, again, it's just 2 cards that you don't like, but this way you at least got rid of 2 cards that they could have used to help you out, and you can now use them to your advantage later on in the game. Next up is Pride. It's a very easy condition. If another player discards 2 or more cards, you may play Pride, which gains you 3 power. Now, for discarding cards, it could be if someone's at a discarding location and they choose to just get rid of 2 cards, then you can play it. You can play Pride if they do that, or if they vanquish using 2 heroes, they are after the vanquish, the 2 allies are then discarded, which means 2 cards are discarded. You may do this. Or if they play 2 effects, you can, and they go 1 discarded, 2 discarded, you may play Pride. Or if they have something where they have to discard cards, like Jafar has something where you search through your deck by discarding cards until something is revealed. Once they do that 3 times, 1, 2, then 3, you may play Pride. So it's just a way of gaining power. I generally discard this. It's not that good because I can always just move to the graveyard to gain 3 power, and a lot of times people don't discard 2 cards because they're either just playing an ally or something or fading someone. It's not very, I don't see it played a lot, so I usually get rid of this because it can at times take up 2 cards in my hand, which I would much prefer filled with something like Whisper or Hungry Hyenas. Alright, so we have our fate cards now. First one up is Mufasa. I already talked to him when we were going over Scar's objective, but again, you just defeat Mufasa first, and then every hero defeated after him gets put into the succession pile. Now we have Rafiki. Scar must defeat Rafiki before defeating other heroes. So when you're fated with Rafiki, generally they will place him down so you can't vanquish Mufasa first, which makes you waste a hero or waste an ally on vanquishing Rafiki. This one is pretty bad because he can stop you from defeating other things, which screws up your game really badly. Alright, now we have Zazu. His ability is that all other heroes at Zazu's location get -2 strength, and all heroes at other locations get +1 strength. So if you have heroes here and here, let's say, and you place Zazu at that location, Mufasa will get -2 strength, which makes him 4 strength. Rafiki will have 1 strength. But if Zazu's here, let's say, Mufasa will have 7 and Rafiki will have 4. This is a card that you would want to play when you get Long Live the King. If Mufasa is revealed with Long Live the King, always play him. But if Mufasa's already down or he's not in the first 4 that you draw, then play Zazu. and play him to the location with other heroes to weaken them so that it makes them easier to vanquish. These are a good pair right here. These two are really good together, and Zazu just helps Mufasa get out quicker because he's weaker, and then Rafiki's, yeah. Now we have Pumbaa and Timon. These two are good in pairs because Pumbaa's ability is he gets +2 strength if Timon's in Scar's realm, and Timon's is +2 strength if Pumbaa's in Scar's realm. So if they're both here in your thing, Timon will have 4 strength and Pumbaa will have 5. It doesn't matter if they're on the same location or far away. Their abilities are always activated because they are in your realm. They don't have to be at the same location or anything. So it's always good to get rid of one before the other's played, or just make sure that they both don't get played, because they both can really mess up your plans. Next we have Rabi. Rabi's ability is when played, you may discard a hyena from her location. So this one is, I guess, it's good to play on yourself because it says you may discard, so you don't have to when he's played. But if someone plays him on you, they're obviously going to get rid of a hyena. So when they play him, if you had a hyena here, and then someone else played Rabi here, they would obviously get rid of your hyena. But if you wanted to, you can play Rabi, and because it says you may discard, you don't have to. So you can keep your hyena to then get rid of Rabi at some point in time. Next is Nala. I went through this one a little earlier. When Nala is played, you may move a hero to any location. So if you have all of your allies, say you have all of your allies here, and Scar or Mufasa is here, obviously someone's going to play Nala to move Mufasa away so that you can't vanquish. But if you reveal Nala and someone moves Mufasa here, you can play Nala and then move him to vanquish him. So Nala works both ways. If you play her, you don't always have to move. It says you may move. So if Mufasa's here and you find Nala, you can just play her, but you don't have to move. Last up is Simba. Simba's a pretty good one for the other people because hyenas cannot have a strength of more than 2, which really affects the hungry hyena because he gets +1 strength for each other hyena at her location. So this one can be bad because you can have like 7 hyenas at a location, but Simba's there, so the hungry hyena won't do you any good. He'll only be able to go up to 2 because of this ability. That's why I stay away from Simba, or if I really want to, because I need the 5 strength, I go ahead and vanquish him off the bat before I get other heroes that stack up. He's best put with Zazu, because Zazu will make him 3 strength if they're at the same location, which makes him very easy to vanquish with 2 hungry hyenas instead of 3. Now for items, we have Rafikis Stick, which when played, you attach it to a hero, and when that hero would be defeated, discard this item instead. This one's pretty bad, because when played on Mufasa, you have to vanquish Mufasa twice, because first vanquish gets rid of the stick, so you lose like 3, or you lose your allies, and then you have to vanquish Mufasa again using more allies. So this card makes it very difficult. Another annoyance that's happened before is Rafiki's been played, and then Rafiki's Stick is played on him when Mufasa's in my realm. This makes it more difficult because you can't kill Mufasa until you kill Rafiki. So you have to kill Rafiki, use allies, get rid of this, and kill him again to then be able to kill Mufasa, which is another annoyance that happens with this stick. He can be played to any hero, so that's, I guess, something that you really want to get rid of when playing the game by using Long Live the King. If you get a Rafiki Stick in this, good. That's good. Next up is Prophecy. You get 3 of these. When prophecy is played, attach it to a hero with no other attached items. That hero gets +3 strength. So this card is this card's bad for Scar, but good for the other people. He can make Mufasa have 9 strength, but the main caveat with this card is with no other attached items. So if Mufasa has a prophecy and they fate you again and get prophecy, they can't play another one on him to make him 12. So that's a good thing for Scar. Rafikis Stick on Mufasa. You can't play prophecy because Rafikis Stick is an item. So really, they have a choice to make. Either make it so that you have to kill him twice or give him extra strength. Prophecy's pretty much bad for anybody. If played on Simba, it can make your game harder, because then he's 8 strength, which is really bad when you only have 2 strength per hero or ally. So if you find prophecy, get rid of it. By using your conditions, you can reveal the top 2 cards of your fate deck when someone fates you. So if prophecy is revealed, I would mostly get rid of it. I wouldn't put it back on top for them to use. Alright, so Hakuna Matata. Been through this one quite a bit. You basically choose a hero with a strength 3 or less from the succession pile and play that hero, or move a hero to any location. When opponents use this on you, they're going to try and mess up your succession pile by taking a hero out and replaying him, they can't do it to Simba because he has 5 strength, but they can do it to Nala. That's one that they would probably want to do, so they can move a hero to any location, and it also gets rid of stuff from your succession pile. But if you find it, you want to use the second ability, which allows you to move a hero to any location, so that if you have your allies at the savannah, let's say, your hero here, you can move them there. It's a card that they can do either with. Like if you have no succession pile, but you have like Simba here, but all your allies are here, you probably want to move them to make it more difficult for you to get the ball rolling. But I don't know. It's just one of those cards that is really situational. Like you want to play this if your allies are somewhere else than a hero, but most times you don't really want to see this. So if you draw it with a condition, I forgot what the condition is called. It's injustice. If someone fates you, you can reveal the top 2 cards, and if Hakuna Matata is in there, get rid of it. Alright, so now for my main strategy. The main goal is to just stack up all of your allies onto the savannah, and then stack all of the heroes that you find with Long Live the King, and just stack them onto the savannah as well. That's because Pride Rock and Elephant Graveyard are essential to building up your ally army, because you can play 2 cards, which allows you to play Hyenas. It also gives you the most power, which allows you to play the Hyenas. So these 2 are ones you don't really want to block. And then the Gorge is helpful for stuff like the Stampede and for vanquishing. This is because when you move here, if you have an ally or a hero here, you can use the play a card to play Stampede, move Timon over, and the Stampede allows you to vanquish. So you can vanquish somebody, as well as you can vanquish again. So you can get rid of 2 people at the same time. Now this is also good because you can move the Stampede over. That way you can just build up your army here. And you can also fate, so that you can essentially slow down your hero, or slow down your enemies, while also being able to get rid of 2 people a turn. So if you have Mufasa in the succession pile, that's when you want to start using the Stampede, so that you can just in one turn get rid of like 6 strength. Now the main part for this is Zazu. Always play Zazu when revealed by Long Live the King. Unless Mufasa's there, play Mufasa, and then you can always just play Whisper to get Zazu back. So when you do this, when Zazu's there, every hero that's there gets -2 strength, which weakens them a lot so that your allies can easily take them out. Now, never kill Zazu because he is going to be the one that helps you out. And yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully this strategy helped you out, because this is one of the harder villains to play as. So I hope that the description of all the cards was helpful, as well as how they can be played and used to vanquish heroes and ultimately help you win your objective. And so yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have great games. Yeah, that's it.